If you've ever said, "Why did I react like that?" or felt embarrassed by a part of yourself, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Libby, and I'm a transformation coach. Shadow work is often misunderstood and honestly made to sound scary. People think shadow work is about facing something dark, digging up trauma, or fixing something that's wrong with them. But that's not what shadow work actually is. Shadow work is about understanding the parts of you that learned they weren't safe to be seen and bringing them back into awareness with compassion. Because what you don't acknowledge doesn't disappear. It just runs your life from the background. Your shadow is not your worst self. Your shadow is made up of emotions you were taught not to feel, traits you learned to suppress, needs that weren't welcome, reactions you learned to hide. At some point you learned, this part of me isn't acceptable. This emotion causes problem. I should keep this hidden. So your nervous system did what it needed to do. It pushed those parts out of awareness. That's how the shadow is formed. The shadow doesn't stay hidden. It shows up as overreactions, judgment towards others, shame, control, defensiveness, emotional shutdown, self-sabotage. Often the things that bother us most in others are reflections of parts of ourselves we've disowned. That's not a flaw, that's information. When parts of you are rejected internally, they don't disappear, they get louder. Suppression leads to emotional explosions, chronic tension, anxiety, burnout, cycles you can't explain. Shadow work isn't about getting rid of these parts. It's about integrating them. When parts of you feel seen, they don't need to act out. This is important. Shadow work is not judging yourself, analyzing yourself endlessly, forcing insight, reliving trauma. Shadow work is noticing reactions without shame, getting curious instead of critical, asking, what is this protecting? Allowing parts of you to exist without punishment. The moment compassion enters the process, healing begins. Your shadow often formed around moments when your inner child felt unsafe. A child who was punished for anger may grow up suppressing anger until it leaks out sideways. A child who learned love was conditional may hide their needs until resentment builds. Shadow work allows you to say, you don't have to hide anymore. I can handle you now. That's integration. Shadow work can feel uncomfortable because it challenges identity. You might feel resistance, defensiveness, emotional waves, the urge to avoid or distract. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're touching something honest. Growth happens at the edge of awareness, not force. Shadow integration looks like pausing when triggered, naming emotions without judgment, allowing complexity, accepting that you are not just good or bad, holding multiple truths at once. You don't become darker, you become more whole. When shadow parts are integrated, emotional reactions soften, shame loses power, self-trust increases, authenticity grows, energy returns. You stop spending energy hiding from yourself, and that energy becomes available for growth, connection, and change. This channel approaches shadow work gently, safely, without forcing, without shame. We don't demonize emotions. We don't rush healing, and we don't pathologize survival responses. We create space for self-honesty and compassion. if you've judged parts of yourself, if you tried to suppress emotions, if you feared certain reactions. Shadow work isn't about becoming someone else. It's about reclaiming yourself. Subscribe for grounded healing. Comment if this shifted your perspective. And remember, awareness is the beginning of freedom. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, link is in my bio.